is our honor and duty to brief Nigerians about how the election day processes are going, the challenges we have encountered, and the measures we have taken to address these challenges. As all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria around the world are aware, today is election day in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigerians are voting for a president, 109 senators, and 360 members of the House of Representatives. From our situation room, we have been observing the processes nationwide, and we have been receiving reports from our state offices. As Nigerians are aware, the prevailing context for the conduct of the election is a bit challenging, but there is also a sheer determination on the part of the Commission to ensure that the elections hold and that they are free, fair, and credible. As Nigerians are aware, or most Nigerians I should say, this is the first time since 2011 that a general election has not been postponed after it was scheduled. It's part of the Commission's determination to ensure that we continue to do what is right. So we considered it auspicious to address the nation at this point, and we are going to continue to do so throughout the day intermittently until we formally open the collation center tomorrow. So far, so good, generally speaking. Voting is going on nationwide. The bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS, deployed nationwide for the first time, has been functioning optimally in most parts of the country. And we hear actually less and less of complaints about the functionality of the bimodal voter accreditation system than we hear about our other processes. So based on the reports that we have received from the various states of the Federation and our office in the Federal Capital Territory, some challenges were identified, one of which is the inability of the Commission in a number of places to open the polling units at the appointed hour of 8:30 a.m. Some of the polling units opened late, but in line with our policy, any Nigerian who is on the queue will have the opportunity to vote, no matter how long it takes, until the last person on the queue before 2:30 votes, no matter how long it takes. Some of the reasons why we couldn't open the polling units on time are, one, the perennial problem of logistics, in spite of our best effort. I think in 2023 we have conquered the challenge of getting election materials to various locations. Yes, there may be complaints here and there, but generally speaking, we have delivered the hundreds of millions of ballot papers and result sheets that we are supposed to deliver for the election. But another contributory factor to the late opening of the polling units is actually the perennial insecurity in the country. For instance, we couldn't deploy early enough to Alawa in Shiroro local government area of Niger State, bandits launched an attack, not necessarily on INEC officials, but in the area. So on the advice of the security agencies, we tarried a while. But I'm happy to say that we were able to deploy to Alawa, and voting in that location is ongoing as we speak. Similarly, in Oshimili local government area of Delta State, thugs attacked a polling unit and 2 beavers machines were lost in the process. But again, determined that election must continue, we were able to replace the stolen beavers machines, reinforce security, and voting continued in that location. Similarly, in Safana local government area of Katsina State, thugs attacked one of our voting locations and snatched 6 beavers machines. But again, we were able to recover and use the spare beavers machines and reinforce security for voting to continue in that location. Happily, the security agencies have recovered 3 of the beavers machines, but 3 are still held by the thugs. So in these locations, the target of attack was actually the beavers machines. No longer our ballot papers or ballot boxes is the beavers machines. But in the 2 instances, we were able to recover and continue with the process. But there are also other complaints we had from some political parties about the shortage of polling agents' tags, the identity tags. Nigerians may recall that for the first time, we designed a portal and encouraged all political parties, as required by law, to nominate their polling agents. They never interacted with INEC face-to-face. And we harvested over 1.5 million nominations from political parties for agents at polling units level alone, and over 68,000 for collation at ward level, local government level, and the states, and 27 collation agents for the national collation as nominated by the 18 political parties. And we printed those cards and delivered them in the main to the states, where they were collected by the state chairmen of political parties. But not all the parties nominated agents for all the polling units. So we did what we were supposed to do. And if there are issues, then definitely these issues will not be from the commission. But we also realized, and that is why we created the portal, that parties would like to issue agents their own tags bearing only the logos of the party and the word agent written across. In this case, anybody can claim to be the agent of any political party at any level, resulting in some instances commotion during collation, where 2 or more agents will claim to represent a political party. And that's why we created the portal, where they uploaded the names of the agents and the description of why they are going to serve as agents, as well as their photographs. And these cards were laminated and delivered to the states. One of the parties drew my attention to a letter. They said in one of the states, they were given a letter by INEC in the absence of the accreditation tags. But our officials at the polling unit level did not recognize those agents because they were not bearing the INEC accredited cards. I requested that gentleman to share a copy of that letter with me. He shared a copy of that letter, and it was clearly issued by his party, not by INEC. And when I drew his attention to it, he immediately deleted the message. So this is the clarification on the issue of agents. And I would still like to advise political parties that as we go into the concluding phase of this election, particularly when we go into collation of results, the Commission will insist that only INEC accredited collation agents will be admitted into the collation centers. Finally, there was an issue raised by some of the political parties, particularly at the polling unit level this morning. They said that in some instances, the logos of the political parties were on the ballot papers, but the acronyms of the political parties were not on the result sheets. I need to provide this important clarification. The process of producing the result sheets is more complicated than the production of the ballot paper. For result sheets at polling unit level, they are polling unit specific, and they are in several carbonized copies that the Commission will retain the top copies, the first two top copies, and then give each polling agent at polling unit level a copy, and one copy goes to the police. The process of producing the result sheet is a lot more complicated than the production of the ballot papers. So what we did on the result sheets was to provide 2 additional blank rows. And the purpose of these 2 additional blank rows is to accommodate any political party that we may be compelled to accommodate on the ballot paper by 11th hour judicial pronouncement. So those 2 additional rows are supposed to take care of that eventuality. So where you have a party on the ballot, but the logo is not on any of the result sheets, this can actually be added to the result sheets, for which rows have been provided accordingly. And the presiding officers and the collation agents are authorized to accept and certify and stamp the insertion of political parties where this situation arises. There are also unfolding situations in Abia and Imo states. In Abia, deployment is taking place late to the polling units. The Commission is aware, but we are assuring voters in Abia state that no matter how late we deploy to the polling units, if voters are on the queue before 2:30, they will vote no matter how long it takes. So we are aware of the situation in Abia state. We are also aware of the situation in Imo state. Generally speaking, but specifically in respect of 4 local government areas: Okigwe, Uguta, Osu, and Olu local government areas. In the whole of Osu, we had issues in all the 11 wards. In the case of Olu, it's 6 wards out of 11. In the case of Okigwe, it's 5 wards out of 11. And in the case of Oguta, it's more widespread. I had a discussion with the Inspector General of Police this morning, as well as the military, and our officials have been escorted to all the 4 locations. I take it that voting would have commenced in some of these difficult places. But if it doesn't, then I want to assure voters in those locations that election will hold and they will not be disenfranchised. We are going to be making this briefing to Nigerians intermittent throughout the day. So we'll go and review the situation further. I hope in the next, what's the time now, Festus? Almost 1:30. Should we say 4:30? 4:30 will be here to provide Nigerians further updates. But this briefing is also supposed to be interactive. Yes, we may be journalists, but we are above all Nigerians. There are things you might have heard, things that we might have seen, reports that we might have read that we would wish to draw our attention to. In our situation room, we have several platforms. That is what is called the INEC Citizens Contact Center, ICCC, where Nigerians using different platforms also relate with the Commission, report situations, and we have been responding. But you will understand that we are in the middle of an election. So if there are 1 or 2 questions or observations or suggestions, I would like to listen to them and respond to the questions before we go back to the situation room. Thank you very much.